Thank you.
For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jason. I am with Cinch Warranty. I'm the local rep right here in Burnsville. And I've been with Cinch since January of last year, so we're coming up on almost a year. Really enjoy it. It's a product I believe in, and I'm here today to spend 30 minutes to tell you a little bit more, a refresher, or answer any questions you might have. And one should be stopping by here pretty soon as well. So, so excellent. Thanks for having me here. Who went to Bold? Oh, dang, then you all know the joke. My son hasn't given me a new one. For those of you that weren't there, what award does the best dentist of the year get?
I don't really know the time.
We didn't get it either, don't worry.
Oh, no.
It's a very dad joke.
Yeah, I just got a 10-year-old son I can thank for that. I thought it was awesome. Well, again, thank you for being here. So, home warranty. Why include a home warranty? For the buyers, protects their budgets. One thing that studies have shown, I put it over here on the right, 78% of home buyers had regrets regarding their home purchase within that first year of buying. And the biggest regret was more expensive than anticipated. I've even heard stories about new homeowners that had to borrow money from their parents or just to get things fixed if it broke, because buying at the top of the market, tapped out on cash to get the down payment and all the other things they wanted to do. And that's one thing that I can absolutely promise that a home warranty will do is save people money, for sure. I have one over the weekend, and I'll just say this. It was with an agent. It was one of their rentals. The furnace went out on Wednesday. The claim was placed. Thursday, a technician came out, diagnosed it, was a cracked heat exchanger. He needed to source the furnace. It didn't get fixed until Monday, but we gave $250 credit for space heaters to carry us through the weekends. And now that house has a brand new furnace, and it only cost that agent $100. So it does work, and it will save you money. For the seller, what's in it for the seller? That clean break from the house, that being able to just walk away and not have to worry about it. I said this at Bold. I have an agent that sold, it's 84 sides now, 46 home warranties. The reason he does it is because he doesn't want to have to go and fix that faucet when he gets that call 3 weeks after closing. So it just gives you and your sellers that good feeling of, hey, did you place a claim with the warranty instead of calling us? And there's no upfront cost. I've actually gotten this question a lot lately. When do we pay for this? So there's no upfront cost. It's settled out as part of the closing. You send the invoice to the title company, and the title company puts it in the appropriate column, whether it be seller or buyer paid, and it just becomes part of that process. So coverage, what does a home warranty cover? We like to use the acronym PEACH. Some of you may have heard this before. Plumbing, electrical, appliances, cooling, and heating. That's what's covered for the buyer. So next slide is what's covered for the seller. The sellers get covered for plumbing, electrical, and appliances. Cooling and heating is an extra $75 add-on for a seller. When a seller warranty goes on, they get coverage from the date. So you can put a warranty on even if it's not on the market, as long as you have a signed listing agreement. And it becomes effective that day, carries through to the day of closing, and then at that point, it converts to a buyer warranty, and the buyer gets a full 12 months of coverage. Even if your house was on the market for 9 months, forbid that happens to any of you, but it'll be covered for that 9 months for the seller, and then they'll get a full 12 months for the buyer afterwards.
At that point, like say they do the seller's coverage, how do you know they need to add that if they also want the cooling and heating?
If you call for the cooling and heating, correct? Or do you add that?
You just add it. So when you do the listing and you know it's a seller and you have that conversation with your, in your listing appointment and say, hey, do you want your AC and your furnace covered? It's an additional $75 for you. Then we add it on. One thing to know, and I don't remember if it's later on, sellers are not covered for pre-existing conditions. So you can't put it on and call 2 days later and there's something that's all rusted out, and it just, unfortunately, that's just not in the spirit of how it works. Buyers are covered for unknown pre-existing stuff. So they had an inspection, inspector said, hey, everything looks great, it's fine. They might say, hey, it's old, but that doesn't matter. As long as there's no condition noted, that buyer will be eligible for coverage. Pricing. I got this cool little laser here, but I realize it doesn't work on the TV, so I'll just be using my finger. I think our structure is pretty easy. We have base plans and plus plans. So think of the base plan as parts and labor. The plus plan includes coverage for things like permits, haul away, modifications. So if you put you replace a 40-year-old furnace and you got to make the ductwork bigger in a base plan, the buyer, that would be an out-of-pocket expense for the buyer or for the owner in the basic plan. But in the plus plan, that would be something there's extra coverage. And a $100 and a $200 deductible. Yes.
Shameless plug. Do you guys do any VA discounts? Because I have a lot of veteran clients.
I will have to check into that and see. Off the surface, one thing to know, these are kind of a loss leader discounted. Anybody just as an FYI, most of the time when you do a renewal, it's about $150 more. I honestly think that's helpful for everybody to understand.
Renewals, you said?
Yeah. So after you get through your first year of coverage, you'll get a bunch of emails and some stuff in the mail. And hey, do you want to do this? I don't think we actually call people and say, but and it's usually about $150 more. But for that person that got that $4,000 furnace, still pretty. So.
And that was for the buyer, not the buyer-seller plan, correct?
What do you mean?
Well, the prices you just showed there.
So the pricing that I just showed there, that's for everybody. So seller and buyer pricing is the same. Seller would be, a lot of times if it's just on a listing for the seller, most sellers go with the base plan, least out of pocket, add that $75 and go that way. Oh, knowing that in that first 30 days, the buyer will be communicated from us. They'll get communication that says, hey, do you want to do the extra $120 to take the jump up to the extra coverage? So there are add-ons. So our base plans do not have washer and dryer covered for buyers. So I always, when somebody calls me, I always quote that $50 more in the base plan because most people want their washer and dryer covered. We also cover things like outside gas, sewer, and water lines, septic tanks, wells, pools and spas, standalone freezers, and water softeners are not included in the base plan. But honestly, that's almost industry-wide. Out of the 7 warranty companies that I'm aware of, there's only one that has it in their plan. This is almost always. At the bottom, additional AC heating systems. Our plans cover in the base plan 2 AC units and 2 furnaces. So a lot of times you won't run into having to add additional systems. So like, let's say it was a house that had an addition and they've got a mini split that cools that area and then a traditional air conditioner that covers the main house. Both of those will be covered under the base plan.
That's not 2 calls, that's 2 different units.
2 different things.
Maybe 2 calls, something happened and then 6 months later, something else happened.
So we'll talk about that. That would be what's called a recall. And we have, it's somewhere later in the plan, we have a 180-day workmanship guarantee. So if something happens to something that we fixed within 180 days from that, we'll send something. Does that answer your question?
Possibly, well, I'll wait until you get there.
What sets us apart? So the Premier Upgrade Plan, I talked about this a little bit. Improves customer satisfaction around the claim event, by providing buyers with additional protections, for industry-wide non-covered items. So that's things like disposal, reclamation of refrigerant permits, like I talked about, duct modifications, electrical modifications, line sets, that's all taken care of. So if you want my advice, spend the extra $129 and get that upgraded.
Just go back.
Yeah. Sure. So the upgrade package is an additional $1,000 per claim, up to 2 a year, toward those non-covered charges we were talking about. Claim, no claim maintenance. So here's some other things that we have. If this right here, no claim maintenance reimbursements. If your buyer does not file a claim in the first 10 months of the warranty being active, we will reimburse up to $100 for them to go out and get an AC or a furnace tune-up. So it's not just something you spend money for and don't get any use out of. $25 filter credits, emergency lodging reimbursement. This one's, I used this for the first time last summer, but I had a situation in Iowa where a homeowner had a medical condition and her AC went out, and she couldn't be in the hot and kind of get through that when we were having those 95-degree days. So she went out, stayed in a hotel for 4 days while we waited for the unit to be delivered and then installed. So we reimbursed up to $1,200. 6 days at $200 a day. Think about it that way. Appliance byline. When you get the warranty, you have access to a website through us where you can go on like GE and Whirlpool, basically buy at cost for appliances. So there are some nice perks. I don't know of anybody else that offers this. All right. There we go. So this is new. I put this in here. What I've been talking about the whole time is our traditional in-network plan that everybody is familiar with. We recently started, not recently, 2 years ago, but I like to think of it as recent compared to us being around for 50 years with the other plan. There are providers in the market that have a bring your own provider plan. We are the only company that actually offers both in the same house. So I like to think of this as like healthcare. When you have an in-network plan, you go to the plan's doctors, you have the highest level of coverage with the lowest potential out of pocket. With the bring your own provider plan, this is like an out-of-network doctor. Total convenience, go when you want, pick whoever you want, but there may be a little bit more out of pocket. And I know there's, well, Holly's not around anymore, right? Here's the bring your own pro. Single family is $669, condo is $663. With the bring your own provider, it is not eligible for seller coverage. So if you're putting it on listings, it has to be other. Just like the traditional coverage, bring your own pro has these optional coverages similar to the other ones: water softener, extra freezers, pools, well pump or septic, additional AC systems. And the nice thing about our brochure, other companies, they're not as transparent as this. You may have heard about these bring your own provider plans and thought, hey, everything's covered. I don't know that the other rep necessarily talks about there are limits to it. And it's in their 14-page brochure. If you dig through and find it, ours are just listed right here. If you put them side by side, you will find that ours limits are higher. And we don't do things like prorate based on age. in either one of our plans. So if you have a 40-year-old furnace, we're not gonna come and say, well, today's actual cash value of that is $300, so that's all we're gonna give you. We will buy the new one and pay for it up to the limits that we have, regardless of age. I don't know if anybody's had that experience or run into that before, where the homeowner gets a little text or an email that says, yeah, this one's a little bit older, we're not gonna, it's a bad experience for the homeowner. It's not something, so. Why home warranties? Anybody have any guesses on this, or have I already said everything my thoughts on this? Jennifer, we were talking about this earlier. Jennifer has a story when she was selling houses as a real estate agent. She said one of her first transactions, she had the listing, sold it. About a month later, she got an email and a phone call from the sellers that said, our buyers are taking us to small claims court. Within the first week, it turns out within the first week after the close, the oven went out, something went wrong, and it stopped working. And they took that to small claims court. She thought, hey, this is gonna be great. We had an inspection, y'all cooked pizzas the day before you left. There's nothing in this that should get us. There's a judge in Scott County that ruled in favor of the buyers against the sellers, and they had to buy a new oven for the people after they sold the house. To me, that's crazy. Like, when does liability end, right? But there's a judge out there that thought, and they probably could have fought that and won, but how much is your time worth versus a $500 range, right? And she said from that point on, warranty became part of her, what she talked about, just because she didn't want to have that happen again.
Just had a close with a buyer on Friday. How soon can like a home warranty plan be added after a close?
So you have up to 30 days to be able to add it at the real estate. After that, it becomes looked at as more of a retail transaction. The thing about us, and I should have said why Cinch. Cinch has been around for 53 years. We're family owned. We're the second largest home warranty company in the country. We have 5 different channels that we sell through. Real estate is just one of them. We do have a direct to consumer retail side, and that's kind of after that 30 days where it then falls into. That's the way they like us to look at it. Now, am I willing to bend a few rules for agents and do what I can? Make sure we get it. So, why sellers need the protection of the home warranty? We just talked about this, additional protections post-close, protects equity, value protection during the listing period. I have an agent out of the Dyna office that her process is pre-inspection and get her handyman to fix the little things that might come up, because she says, we don't want anybody finding anything that we don't know about. Then she puts this on and then offers it as a benefit as that post-closing protection. And for her, we've done things like a leak to the shut-off valve for the outside faucet. $100, plumber came in, fixed that. Jetted bathtub. All of a sudden, one of the air lines, the little barb that connects it to the jet, that broke. That was like $680. Those are fixed by the people that do hot tubs. So like normal plumbers don't do that. You can't call a normal plumber and say, hey, come out and work on my jetted tub, because we call like 5 of them. It's the companies like Cal Spa or those businesses that work on jetted tubs. I had no idea. Maybe you all are smarter than me. I'm sure you are, and you knew that already. Buyer incentive. There's statistics that says a home listed with a home warranty sells on average 12% faster than. So it adds value. If you see it side by side, well, I like both those houses, but I get 1 year of peace of mind for that with that home warranty, I think we'll go with that. No upfront costs, like I talked about, and marketing tool. I actually have had agents that put this in the notes part of the MLS. Include a warranty. Here's the brochure, just right there as part of the listing. So helps with marketing as well. And from a marketing perspective, we talked about this earlier. if you want to offer it as like a gift or post-close for your buyers, we have cool little cards that are like, hey,
I didn't find one, I'm sorry.
that's okay. And I didn't find one in my bag either, but we have cool little cards that you can send your client that says, hey, you have a 1-year home warranty. Here's the warranty number. Here's the effective dates, Cinch branded and that kind of stuff that you can send out to those people. Let's go. All right. Why buyers need protection. This is a sad statistic to me. Refrigerators, 37% of refrigerators purchased between 2011 and 2021 need repairs or replacements. Where's the quality gone in anything that we buy these days? For those of you who don't know, I used to own an appliance repair business. Did that for 4 years. I'll tell you the 2 brands that are probably, you can probably guess. They come from a company way across the seas, and both those companies first made cell phones and TVs before they were. Well-maintained furnaces last 15 to 20 years. This is always the question I wondered. How much maintenance, if any, did that seller do prior to you buying the home? I saw a claim the other day where the furnace filter was literally so clogged that it sucked it into the blower motor because no air could go through it anymore. It just ripped it out of and sucked it into the blower motor. And then we talked about that one earlier. Not digging this little mouse here. So family handyman, I remember seeing this. Lifespans for major appliances has decreased significantly over the past 25 years, mainly due to the additions of bells and whistles. Honestly, I think this has more to do with efficiency standards because we're making things much narrower as far as the parameters with which they can operate. Less water, less electricity. So, I mean, metal's thinner. It's not like a 69 Chevy where, be falling apart and still get it to fire up. The one that surprises me though is 15 years for a water heater. I'm not going to question it, but it seems, I'd say an oven would last longer than water heater, but not my study. So who can answer quick difference between base plan and upgrade? They don't have to be a quiz, they do.
$1,000 upgrade, there are certain things that are included, like a washer and dryer.
Unknown pre-existing condition. We didn't talk about this, but it's anything that couldn't be observed with a simple visual inspection or a simple mechanical test. And when we look at that from a buyer's perspective, we're one of the only companies that has an or, not an and. And legally, that makes a huge difference. And we get down here to the next question, that's where it makes the difference. Can't test an AC in the winter because of the way an AC functions. But if you get your inspectors to go out and just visually look at it and say, I don't see anything that could be wrong with that. It needs to be, cleaned with a hose to get the cottonwood off. As long as they looked at it and make a comment in the inspection, that is something that's going to be eligible for coverage, even if you didn't start it.
Do you guys require inspection reports then, or?
We don't. I talk about them because they really do dovetail together.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you don't have a home inspection, you are rolling the dice a little bit if you file a claim on day 2. That I think you can all understand where that might look a little, we function a lot on common sense. If you bought your house in the end of June, you didn't have a home inspection, but July 21st, you file a claim on the AC, you've probably been using that AC for 3 weeks. Less is 1.6% of our claims request a home inspection. So it's very low and it's not necessary. And again, you're rolling the dice, but I often think that if you didn't get a home inspection, that's even more of a reason to get a home warranty, because you didn't have anybody go through, look at the house, look at all of these things. Hey, they're all good. So. This is close to the end here, so any other questions? Application. So one way to protect yourself from questions or liability. This is the brochure, the order form. A best practice that agents that I talk to use is they have the conversation about warranty. Whether a homeowner does it or does not do it, right down here at the bottom is this box. Do you have your own paperwork here that has an opt-out or a home warranty? Okay. Some brokerages have it as part of their paperwork. But you're welcome to use ours. I accept the home warranty for coverage. It has been presented to me, or it's been presented to me, and I do not accept the home warranty.
Ours is just a disclosure. That
Okay.
says we talked about it, but it doesn't opt in or out.
This is nice to have because if you do get that call after close or during the listing and they say, this is a big expense or whatever, hey, remember we talked about that, and you physically put a pen to paper, dated it and said, line that coverage. That is me. There are cards back in the agent resource area. If you scan this little thing, it gets you my digital business card. So it pops you over to an electronic business card that you can download and save to contacts. I answer my phone at 8 o'clock on Fridays and Sundays during the game, which sometimes I regret, but I'm here for you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions?
I have one question. You mentioned the not having an inspection. So let's say you have that, but then you do the home warranty, months go by, you get the call. Like, is stuff still, like, is it still a good idea, I guess, to have a home warranty even if you don't have any inspection?
Yeah, absolutely. Because of that financial protection that people get, that is hands down the biggest. For the sellers, it's the liability protection, but for the buyers, I mean, there are houses in that range where they can self-indemnify, right? But so many of the people, regular, how happy are you? So, or even save yourself $250 on a little repair, like. So, I think it's worth it. And it's not because I work here. I have a home warranty on mine, and when we bought our house back in 2005, Jen was our real estate. Got the sellers and the home warranty. In the first year, our furnace went out and we got a brand new furnace, paid for completely. In the second year, I'm sorry, in the summer of that, the A coil for the air conditioner inside had rusted out, and that repair was $1,700. We opted to take cash for that repair and upgrade the air conditioner. So in that first year, our home warranty paid for the bulk of it. So I don't believe it as well. Any other questions?
Choose it for 1 year. After that 1 year is up, does that kick in the realty price?
Yeah, again, like I said, it's about $150 more. So the plus plan is like 807 or something. I don't work in that area, so I'm really kind of ballparking those numbers, but it's roughly $100 more. And they can take it on as a full year. They can pay for it monthly. Did that answer that question? Cool. Anybody else?
What is the typical process that you have people actually sign up for this? Do they do it digitally or pen to paper?
Yeah, that's a good question. So most of it is done by the agents. Some agents email and say, hey, here's my the plan we want, the address, the close dates, the buyer's or the, you know, the client's information, name and phone number. And it takes me 2 minutes to enroll a warranty. I'll fire that back out to you. If you don't want to depend on that, you actually have access on our website.
It's super easy. You can put in your title company and everything, and they'll just send it right to the title company so that they disperse it at closing, and it's a pretty easy site to navigate.
Yeah, so right here in that, in the upper right corner where it says Agent Resource Center, you can go in and create your own account. The benefit to that, you have to change a close date, you can go in and do that. You also get feedback of when it was paid. I believe it shows on there also if somebody files a claim.
Correct. Yeah, you've got all of your clients and you can see if they've used it, if they haven't used it, and everything from past history.
Yeah, I think it's super helpful. I have teams where they have an admin, so the admin gets their own resource account and they can see, they do all the enrolling, and they can see all the agents' statuses. I personally like, if somebody sends it to me, I just hit enroll today. It takes me to the next page where I put in the zip code of the brokerage and I put in the last name of the agent. Boom, that already populates. I choose the plan, put in the customer's information, and the warranties or the invoice is generated.
And you can also see then if they've used it or not, and if they haven't used it, you can reach out to them or remind them. You get $100 credit on a furnace tune-up or an AC tune-up, as your warranty is expiring in the next.
Yeah, thanks. There are a lot of ways that a warranty can be used as touch points, reasons to contact your clients and, just have that extra. And the 10-month is a great, if they haven't used it, especially if you have the dashboard, or you can see that they've had a claim and you can call them, hey, how did that process go? Because the one thing that doesn't come to me, right now, there's like a little over 1,400 claims in my area. I honestly don't know about every individual one, how well it's going. I try to go in and look and see if anything has gone a bit longer. But the fastest way for me to know that is for you to reach out, send me an email. Hey, I had clients that did this or filed this claim. They were told it's a furnace claim and they're going to have to wait 2 days. Can we get that stepped up at all? And I get involved and either get it reassigned or, do the comp of the money to have have them go out and buy heaters, reimburse that so that they can make it those 2 days. That there isn't really a system for me to find that out unless y'all give me a call. And I'm happy to do it. Absolutely what I'm here for, not just citing warranty training. So, yeah.
So let's say you're just talking to somebody, they aren't gonna buy or sell, but they do want the warranty. Would you just have them go and enroll themselves as well through just?
Yeah, so people off the street can get this if they go to this website. When you enroll it as not part of, basically get this discount, I should say. If you enroll it as not part of a real estate transaction, there is a 30-day waiting period. So it doesn't, there is limited coverage during that first 30 days. Because, you can't call State Farm after you crash your car and get coverage. Kind of that same idea. It's a protection for us for that. Question. Like it. Anybody else?
Seems like it shouldn't be covered, but I just had a call last week. And they told me the furnace went out the second day they were there. So they are getting that fixed. We did not get a home warranty. If they were to get a buyer's warranty, that wouldn't be covered, correct? Or does it go retro to the close date?
Yeah, it's sorry. For a second, I didn't have a stroke. There's verbiage in the yeah, it says we do not cover any conditions. So that would be okay. Now, if they have it fixed, they put a warranty on right now, that is eligible for coverage forward. Because it would be all right. Well, thank you all for joining me today. That, was a little rough. I apologize. Jen, sent that to me and, a few things were taken out. I'm like, okay, well,